Hello, I am Aisa Bunsalagan and welcome to Kialo, the only platform designed for rational debates. So to get started, click on Login in order to sign up, which you can do for free. And from there, no, I'll click Continue with Google. Ayan. Use another account. So, mhm. Now, because Kialo doesn't have a single sign-in with Google, you're still going to set up a username. So here I'll put my username. So let's try. Um, hmm. Hmm. Ayan, ito na lang. Ayan. So once you've done this and you're ready, go ahead and click sign up. Ayun. Now, since I just created this account, my entire teacher dashboard is blank. So let's hop over to my other account so you can see what it actually looks like when I've already set up debates and perhaps invited students. So let's log out first. Log into my other account. Ito na lang. Ayan. Ayan. So first, on the Overview tab, you'll get a bigger picture of all the debates you're following, posts you've recently viewed, and so on. Now, the Respond tab is where you and your students see alerts like being tagged in a discussion. And also, if ever someone invited you to a conversation, it will appear on this following tab. Yan. That's why it is most applicable to students. Now, while the Own tab shows debates you created, the Recent tab, as the name itself, reveals your most recent activity. So, eto, recent, recent tab. Moreover, the Teams tab displays different groups of students, and it's probably best to think of teams as classes. So for the last tab, you might want to create and manage accounts for your students if you do not want them to sign up with their own emails. Ayun. So moving on, let's try to set up a class debate. So to do that, I'll go up here to create a new discussion. Ayan. So you'll see that since I'm using an edu account, my only choice will be to create a private one. Now then I'll have the option, as you can see here on the screen, option to set up my discussion with single thesis or multiple thesis. But since our goal is to focus only on one topic, we will select the single as it includes arguments for or against one question. Yeah. Then it will prompt me to enter the discussion details. Yan. Sige. So, for the title, maybe I could ask my students to post some pros and cons. Pros and cons of teachers using ano kaya? Criterion, referenced interpretation, yun na lang, and norm referenced interpretation. Ayan, discussion thesis, same lang sila. Discussion title. Then ito, for the background part, which is optional lang siya. Pero if ever maglalagay man ako, maybe I can add some background information such as instructions, rubrics, or some general information about the thesis to help my students prepare for the debate. So you'll see at the bottom that there's also an option to change the language of the debate. Ayan. Language of the debate. And lastly, I may add a supporting image here that relates to our debate topic. Ayan. So next lang to, next, complete. Okay, now that we've created the thesis, you'll see that I'm now in the discussion interface, which will also look the same for students. So at this point, you can now ask your students to start writing pro and con claims. So if I am a student, I shall click on the green add button. Ayan, to post my first pro claim. So here, maybe I could write criterion reference, criterion interpretation gives off the best tracking of the learner's progress and the specific skills and concepts understood within the curriculum. Of course, whereas norm referenced interpretation, norm reference interpretation provides a probability distribution of how well a student's abilities fit in the norm and how it ranks compared to others within the samples. You can also say that let n be the group of students. Yan, save. And then I'll add a con claim. However, criterion reference interpretation eradicates the possibility of comparing the student's performance or even schools. Ano pa ba? Thus, it cannot depict how a student or a school is performing against another student or school, of course, school respectively. Of course, for the norm reference interpretation, in contrast, demonstrates measurement of only a tiny portion of the subject and a minor section of students' abilities. Ayan. Save. And you'll notice on the screen that as I am adding claims, they're also showing up on the discussion tree. So you can see how the debate is developing as your students add new arguments. Now, if either you or your students want to comment on these claims, whether to support or go against them, click the comments icon here. Ayan, then add your comment below. Then add a comment there. Ayan. Just make sure that your students' claim and yours are clear, concise, limited to one point, and supported with evidence. Now, if you ever spot a claim that you think requires clarification, you may click the mark for review. Click mo lang yan, itong button na yan, and it will notify the author. Also, you'll see these little blue icons here. Ayan, mga blue icons in the corner when someone creates, changes, or comments on a claim. You might also want to see a chronological list of all activities here in the notifications panel. Now you can also get a bird's eye view of overall participation in the discussion by clicking on the info. Ayan, info and stats in the discussion menu. Now here you can see the discussion topology by clicking on discussion topology, which gives you a which gives you a visual image of how the debate unfolds. So which will also update in real time as students add new arguments. You can even click on the individual spaces on the discussion topography to see the arguments right there. Ayan, and when you scroll below, ayan, you'll also be able to see the overall arguments right there, and when overall participation of every student in the class, so including the number of claims that they wrote and the number of times they contributed, which also includes the number of comments that they made. Now, as you can probably tell, Kialo Edu is a complex, well-designed tool for teaching one of the most difficult 21st century skills, that is to teach critical thinking. So if you're looking to significantly increase the level of rigor in your classroom, as well as teach students how to communicate and collaborate when using technology, and even use evidence and reasoning in an authentic context, then I definitely recommend you give Kialo Edu a try. So I think that would be all, and thank you so much for listening.